Send them to Alabama, as far as I'm concerned.
And they refused to. What it was, they refused to hear it.
They wouldn't even look at it, folks. We've had Supreme Court members, the Sunshine Law, and the basis for open government and the citizens' rights to speak and participate in their government goes all the way back to the mid-60s. We are the model for most states. And even with the open government that we have today, read your newspapers, watch TV. We're hauling elected officials off by the truckloads who've been involved in corrupt land deals and corrupt tax issues and all kinds of stuff, even with us having a fairly open government.
Look how long it took us to get Team Santa Rosa to force them to open their meetings up.
Right.
I mean, the governor had to step in.
Yeah, I spent about 6 years on that, folks. And let me tell you, since Team Santa Rosa's meetings have been open, and since their books have been open, and they know by law that they're open, we don't have any more hidden, backdoor, underhanded deals.
Well, I don't know. I haven't been watching that closely, but
well,
it's harder for that to happen.
That's right. But my point is, folks, we have some of the best open government laws in the country. And elected officials still take advantage day and day. Public corruption in the state of Florida is so bad right now that there is a statewide grand jury investigation into public corruption as we sit here today. Further down in the state, they have had as many as 4 county commissioners that are in prison right now over corruption. School board members, scores of school board members, boards, real estate control boards and things of that nature. Over and over and over. And we have the best laws in the world, and now we have a court system that says, no, you can't say anything at a public meeting. I mean, can you imagine what it is going to be like when nobody can stand up and say anything?
Well, and let me just say this. It's not just about getting your opinion across, expressing your opinion to them. There's very often pieces of information that they don't want to make public.
Right.
And this is the only place where you can go and release that information, because you're certainly not going to find it in the newspapers. They've done a terrible job of reporting on anything. This is the place where your neighbors are there, your friends are there. It's on TV, you know, it's taped and it's on the internet. There's a recording that's kept as a record where you can release this information to the world, and at that point, they have to address it.
Let the elected officials decide.
Well, at that point, they have to address it.
Right.
And that is the only place for that to happen.
You know, you know, I'll give you an example that happened right here in good old Santa Rosa County. Former one-term commissioner John Broxson. You know, all we heard was, well, we need additional parking areas at a boat launch in the south end of the county. Well, it sounds good. People who have a boat and enjoy the outdoor, well, that's good. You know, but you look into it, ladies and gentlemen. The county had not done due diligence on what the value of the property was. There wasn't an appraisal. There was staff members who were negotiating a price. There wasn't a real estate person involved in it anywhere. There was no signed documents anywhere. Yeah. And it turned out to be we're buying property and there was room to park 9 vehicles there. Okay, if it's not for the citizens doing their research and bringing this kind of stuff forward, folks, your government, if you think you're getting reamed right now by your government, just wait until you're not allowed to raise an objection to what they're doing with your tax dollars.
Well, this is also one of the first places that came forward that the appraisal for the little dinky interior parcel we bought, the Pullen property, we didn't get the frontage, we didn't get the platted piece. Just that little interior part was only worth $900,000.
Exactly.
That was a county commission meeting where they were confronted with that fact.
Right.
And they chose to ignore it, but they're on the record as having been confronted with it now.
Right. And you, the voters, obviously, because you had that information in your hand, you decided that Gordon Gooden, the ringleader in the Pullum experience, didn't deserve to be in office anymore. And you know, that's where the importance of public participation and the right to speak.
Well, and they need to be reminded of who their bosses are.
Yeah.
They need to be reminded of that on a daily basis.
You know, it continues to amaze me, and you heard me mention in the previous show about the Taj Mahal courthouse being built near Tallahassee. Here's a judge, and he's got his robe, and he's got the power, and we can't even get to him to talk to him unless we have business with the court, because he's not going to hobnob with the blue collar subjects that he reigns over. Okay, gigantic courthouse. I don't know if any of you've seen the pictures of it. Gigantic courthouse. They don't measure it in feet. They measured the amount of imported mahogany by miles that was put in that thing. Some $50 million. A private gym. Yeah. Private offices. Each judge has a kitchen and a private bath. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that happens, folks, when you can't have a say in how your tax dollars are spent. And you know, one of the things, and I was talking with the First Amendment Foundation this morning. I said, you know, look, they can do what they want to. You know, am I happy with this decision? Absolutely not. But I told the person I was talking to, I said, folks, the septic tank bill, I'm going to give you a good example of what we the people can accomplish. We had State Senator Don Gates that assisted in SB 550 being passed. You know, he was all for it. It came to the attention of the Tea Party organization, at which time the Tea Party organization went to work. And by my count, 10 days later, Don Gates tapped out and has already written a bill to rescind that law. All right, 10 days of the Tea Party hammering him was all it took.
And hopefully they'll keep an eye on who votes for it and who doesn't.
Exactly. So, you know, and my conversation with the First Amendment Foundation, hey, this, you know, I said, look, this is the perfect year for them to do that. As I'm speaking to you, I am sending a copy of this to the Tea Party organization, which I am told is in contact with 70 Tea Party organizations in the state of Florida. By sunset tonight, they will all have a copy of it, and the emails will commence. And if it takes a constitutional amendment to allow us to speak at a government meeting, if it simply takes, we put so much pressure on the idiotic justices that made this decision, so be it, and they changed their mind.
Or the Supreme Court that refused to hear it.
My guess is that I will be sending out an email along with other people that gives the addresses to where the Supreme Court justices receive their mail at. And probably the first thing we're going to do is see if we can't fill up a couple rooms full of letters that's been written to them. Go ahead, take my rights, have at it, you know. Take the citizens' right to to speak.
I think you're wasting your time with judges. I think that's a complete dead end. But this is a prime example of why we have a constitutional amendment process in the state of Florida where citizens can amend the Constitution. This is a perfect example of why we have that.
Well, and a lot of times, look, you never get a solution until something pushes you far enough in the effect phase of it to affect enough people.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the reasons that we're going to have a big turnover in Congress this year is because it's affected a lot of people's backyards, and they're not going to put up with it anymore, and they're going to vote for the new person. The same thing goes with this. SB 550, I'm telling you folks, within 10 days, they were crying, uncle, please don't call me, aggravate me, please don't protest on the side of the road. Uncle, I get it, we were wrong, I'm going to do something about it.
Well, and people aren't going to give up on that one.
No.
That one's not going to get swept under the rug.
And I don't believe folks are going to give up on this one either. This is a move by idiotic court system that is taking the rights from folks.
Well,
and the people aren't going to stand for this.
I'm going to disagree with you there because I don't think it's idiocy on their part. I think it's special interest influence that's done this, just like happened with the Strand case.
Exactly.
Where they said no, people can object through a referendum to being taxed on a TIF district.
Right.
The Supreme Court decided that, and then special interest got to them. That's according to Justice Lewis in his own dissent. Got to them. And then they said, well, let's revisit our own decision.
Right.
And then they ruled against the public on that one. So we've seen that they're susceptible to special interest.
Yeah, well, and my TV partner says susceptible to special interest. I have a different word for it. Corrupt to the core, folks. It is corrupt to the core that these kind of decisions are coming from especially the Supreme Court looking the other way and saying, no, we really don't want to take that up. You have got to be kidding me. So, you know, actually somebody posted on our webpage, today the revolution begins. You know, that's fine. That's how you want to do it. You know, you put your robe on, you look down your nose at me, and you think you're smarter and better than the rest of us. I got some bad news for you. District Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court of the state of Florida, you have just opened up a can of something that you will have wished before it was over with that you hadn't opened up. But it's going to be fun in the process.
Yeah. Well, I think they fought themselves another Citizens Amendment, is what it looks like.
Yeah,
because that's ultimately trumps the Supreme Court, is an amendment to the Constitution.
I mean, you know, me personally, I usually have quite a few irons in the fire. But you know what's going to happen now is I'm going to take this, and every time there's a Tea Party meeting, I'm going to talk about it, and every time there's a Republican Club meeting, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to go to the Rotary Club, and every place that will let me in the door, I'm going to explain this to them. And I just don't believe the citizens of the state of Florida is going to put up with it.
I hope not. I certainly hope you're right.
And, you know, I think it's a little humorous that they think they can get away with it. You know, but, you know, they wear the robe. They look down their nose at us. They give us a time limit for when we can speak before them, and we have to kiss their rings. Well, folks, I'm going to just tell you right now, over this issue right here, it's all hands on deck. It is time for you to participate. This is something we're going to talk about on this TV show until it is straightened out. You should always have the right to speak and to have input at the very government for which you pay for. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for watching. Good night.